Righto guys, I've just done this once, so I'm going to do it a second time. The camera wasn't running or something, so we'll go for a second run, so hopefully it's better the second time. As I said prior, the weather has not been great for fishing with my little boat. It's winter, so it happens. It's good weather when it's good weather, and when it's shit, so not much I can do about that. Dallas did mention to me that probably I should share how I plan my trips, because I have such a small boat. It's only a 12-foot tinny, as you guys see, and I do go in the open ocean, so you know I do have to be careful on where I go, and I do take pop out, you know, so I am responsible for other people other than myself on the boat. It's not just me. So what I thought I'd go through is a few apps I use online to predict when I go fishing. You choose the days I go fishing, and then others on how I get about out there. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the tablet, and I'll just talk over that. This is the tablet. This is my at-home tablet. I have an old one I use on the boat. The first app I use is Seabreeze. Now this is Seabreeze here. It'll load up. That's your weather. Seabreeze has quite a few different things. The only one I really use on Seabreeze is the top one, which is the wind and weather forecast for Perth. Now Seabreeze is set up with yellow arrows. I'm calling them yellow. I'm colourblind. They might be something else, I don't know. But these yellow arrows here represent high winds. The red arrows represent lower winds. I think it's 10 knots and below. And the shaded area is your sea, your swell, your waves. So obviously the higher that is. So if you look on here, today is Tuesday. If you actually touch the screen, you can put it across to where you want to have a look. So today at 8 AM, 24 knots in a westerly direction, and a 3.4 metre waves. That's 11.5 feet. Way too big for me. My general rule of thumb is I need the waves to be lower than 6 foot. 6 foot is my cut-off line. It's something I chose. After 6 foot, it's probably not unsafe, but it's certainly uncomfortable for us to fish. Very hard for us to hold the ground. Not very pleasant to be out there. The wind, I like it to be in the red. 10 knots is about, yeah, again, it's not unsafe. It's starting to get a bit uncomfortable, so I prefer 6, 7 or below. I don't want to go out if it's 10 knots and that's as low as it gets, because it's just not right. If you see here, we have the weather's, it's tomorrow, 11 AM, it's 9 knots, west southwesterly, and then as the day goes on, you know, it drops down. So wind is good for fishing there. It's getting less as the day goes on, so you know when you get out there, that's the worst the weather's going to be. However, I mean, tomorrow it's still like 7'7" seas, so too big for my boat. If we looked at Tuesday, it peaks up, it goes over the 10 knots and it drops back down. The swell is lower, but the wind is higher, so I wouldn't fish these spots. As you see through the week here, the wind gets up higher, the swell raises with the wind. Absolutely no way I would take the boat out in the ocean in these days. In saying that, this day here, Wednesday, although it's got a very high swell, I could go somewhere like like Coburn Sound, sorry, get my tongue mixed up, Coburn Sound, and fish in behind the rock wall, because the rock wall, which I'll show you on another map in a minute, blocks the swell. So I'd only have to deal with the wind. The wind is getting lighter. I could fish around in Coburn, chase squid, whiting, potentially snapper. As long as I stay away from the causeway where the bridge is, the swell will come through there. The other thing I can use this is I'll predict my working week, because if we was to look at my roster, the 2 days that only have some potential of fishing are the 2 days that I'm working this week. Off, 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 all terrible. I wouldn't even go into Cockburn Sound, the wind is too high here. So this is where I look first. This is like the easiest, at a glance, plan ahead. You know, I might be watching Monday if it was a good day, and I'll keep that in mind and watch it. This is actually set to Perth. Perth is about 80 kilometres north of us, so it's not exactly accurate for where I fish. I generally fish Dawesville. So if we go to the next one, is Willie Weather. So Willie Weather has a whole heap of other stuff. I've already set it because I went through this before. I've gone to the wind. Now this I have set for Dawesville Oceanside, so that is exactly where I fish. It's a similar thing, except because it's set for Dawesville, it's probably more accurate. Perth is a good guide, but it does change as you travel away from Perth. So if we was to look at tomorrow according to Dawesville on Willie Weather, you can put your marker here and it will tell you at 10 AM it's 14 knots. And then like here at 2 PM it's still 12 knots. So whereas Seabreeze had the wind dropping away a lot more dramatically up in Perth, we're a bit further south, it doesn't. So that would tell me I wouldn't even go out in Cockburn Sound. So this is my second layer of weather input. So like I say, I use this one's not as friendly just to click on and look and plan a day a week ahead. But once I've spotted a day and I'm watching it, especially 1 or 2 days out, I will really look at this one more than Seabreeze, and this will give me a far more accurate idea for fishing out of Dawesville. So like I say, Seabreeze might have said to me, yeah, you can scoot out in Cockburn Sound, probably be okay. Looking at this, it's too windy. And keep in mind, I am talking about a 12-foot tinny. I'm not talking about you guys have a 5-metre boat. If you've got a 5-metre boat, your limitations are far higher than mine, and you'll go out in a lot rougher weather. I'm in a 12-foot boat, 12-foot tinny. I got to keep it real, keep it safe. So that's Willie Weather. So that's my fine tuning. The other app I use, which is, these two are free, I might add. Seabreeze and Willie Weather are free apps. The next one is Navionics. Navionics I pay for. Navionics costs me, I think it's $36 a year. Navionics is my plotting GPS. So for 36 bucks a year, you're not spending thousands of dollars on a GPS navigation unit. Just a quick look at Navionics. We're in Mandurah. Where this arrow is, I'll just set it here. I've got an old tablet I use on the boat. I set it up in this format, and if you press start, it will direct you to where you want to go. So I keep my map at large, so when I'm motoring out from Dawesville Cut, I can see my markers, and I can go a fairly direct route to those markers. There's no landmarks in the ocean, so I rely on this to put me where I want to be. As you approach where you want to be, I'll just zoom it in, so you can zoom it in. Obviously, as you can see here, that's actually set where I'm living at the moment. That's why that marker's there. You know, this is off of Mandurah, so you've got a very broad trip there. So if I was leaving the mouth of Mandurah and I wanted to go out to James Service Reef, I could use you know, a scale, something like that, and I can see where I'm going with my little marker. It will drive me there. I can use it. Once you get a bit closer, you get on your spot. Oh, sorry, that's not James Service. James Service is out here. I'll find it. There we go. there's so you can get it right out here, and it shows you James Service is way out here. So I could have it on a wide thing, drive to James Service. When I get to James Service, I can then zoom it in, get all the profiles, the depths. I can see where the reef is. I can work out where I want to go. There are some marks on here that people have left. Some people leave public marks. This one is Try. I looked at that one earlier. I don't know what that was about. It gives you your navigation markers. There's actually a wreck here. That's the James Service ship. Yeah, you can zoom it in. It gives you all your depths. Also, once you've got it started, it leaves a snail trail. So if you're drifting, you can see which direction you're drifting and set up your drifts accordingly. So it's a great bit of kit. I fish a lot out of Dawesville. The area I've got a few marks on are there's not much on the Echo Sounder. You can't see anything there. I only have a cheap Echo Sounder. If you've got a better one, maybe, but very cheap Echo Sounder. There's nothing there for me to drive over and go, geez, I want to fish there. But I've caught fish during a drift. I've put marks on those spots, and now I can drive to those spots. I catch fish on those spots, but I get 500-600 meters from those spots, so I don't catch anything. The bites just go away. So there must be some rubble or some structure down there I can't see. But with this piece of gear, I can go straight to it. Well worth $36 a year. I've had it over a year now. I've resubscribed. If you see on my boat, there's a little black box with my Echo Sounder. Behind there in that little black box is an old tablet with this downloaded on it with all my marks, and that's how I get around. If I catch fish or find some new spots, anything I want to mark, very easily, you got the little pin down here, you hit that, that'll drop a mark on it. You can name it later. You don't have to share it. You can keep it private, so it only shows up on yours, and that allows you to go straight back to there. So yeah, I think that's sort of covered it all. Worth having a look at, guys. Highly recommend this. I'm not getting paid by any of these apps. It's just my advice to you, how I fish, how I make it safe in a little boat, and how I try to make it as effective as I can in a little boat, without having, you know, $1,000 navigation units and this, that and the other. I am a small vessel on a budget. So yeah, the other thing just going on it is, like I said, with the weather, if you look at Cockburn Sound, for instance, you can use it to plan a fishing trip. If you've got big swell like we got on Wednesday and low winds, you could zip out into here. We have a wall, the causeway, that blocks the swell from coming here, so swell is irrelevant, just wind. If you got a southerly wind, you can fish along the bottom here, so you know you're protected. If you had a westerly, you could maybe scoot over to Garden Island. Again, use the island for protection, because you know which way the wind's coming, you know you got no swell, and go for there. So don't matter where you are in the world, you'd be able to use those apps to work out when to go fishing and where to go fishing. As I say, the weather's not participating for me in the small boat at the moment, so I will be not fishing for at least the next week. So yeah, hence I'll do a little video like this for you. So I hope that helps, and safe boating, I suppose, is the big thing. Cheers, guys.